In this session, let's focus on the forward markets, which we have where and like this we have different topics: one for futures market, one for options, one for swaps. So, in the forward market, as we have already discussed, it's a contract between two parties over the counter. One party wants to buy, the other party wants to sell at a future date. It could be anything. It could be a commodity, it could be an equity, it could be a bond, it could be on the interest rate also. Anything, literally any financial instrument or rate or exchange rate or anything, right? Where the deal is for a future transaction, anything that we are fixing today, right? I can fix the price today, I can fix the interest rate today, I can fix the exchange rate today, I can fix anything. Both the parties can come together for a future transaction, and the price is agreed upon, the price rate or exchange rate or any of them, it is agreed upon today itself. That is what we are simply putting it as a forward contract. And so basically there is a deliverable. One party has to pay money to the other party on a future date. Today nothing is paid. Today only an agreement is entered into by both the parties. Right? No payment from both the parties. So basically we say that zero payment on the day of entering into the contract. The same thing is applicable even to swaps also. All the over the counter based contracts, we can directly see that there is no payment that is being made, or no payment is exchanged between the parties on the day of entry of the contract. Only decided that this is the price or this is the interest rate. The real payment, real transaction will happen at a future date itself. So what we are saying is, again, the terms are one and the same, the long and the short. Long is primarily for a buyer position, short is for a seller position. So the long will always say he'll pay something at a future date, and he will get a delivery of that particular asset. But of course, as we have already discussed, in all the OTC contracts, there is a possibility of default risk. Defaulting is nothing but on that settlement date, right? Probably after 1 month, one party really either not paying the money or receiving the money but not delivering the good. So one of them defaulting, that risk is much higher, because at the beginning of the contract there is no money that is exchanged between both the parties. Only an agreement is being made between both the parties, but the real transaction happens only on a future date. The real money movement happens only on a future date, and it may very well happen that one of the parties to the contract may very well exit out of it, which can cause a big loss to the other party. Generally, the party who is losing, right? Because in all these transactions, depending on how the future price is, one of the party will gain, the other party will lose. The general scenario is the party who is losing, he may try to default on the contract. So it's a risk to the party who is really gaining on the contract. So the most common settlement mechanisms. See, one, as we have discussed, the most one settlement is I pay. Let's say we are talking of oil contracts, right? This the buyer will pay money to the oil dealer, and oil dealer will supply oil to this party. Now that is a very traditional mode of getting into the contracts. I need oil after 1 month, so I will book the price today itself, and then probably pay it to the person after 1 month, right? So this is a more common, very traditional kind of a mechanism. But today, the traditional mechanism is almost not existing. So here, most of the times, what happens is it's a cash settlement contracts, which means, let's say we have got into a contract saying I'll buy oil at $1,000 after 1 month, right? If the market price of oil after 1 month is 1,050, the buyer got a benefit because he is able to buy it at on that day. If I visualize a fresh transaction, he should have, I mean, on that day, if he really wants oil, he would have paid 1,050 to buy oil. But today, I mean, because of the contract, he is able to buy oil at 1,000 only. So the same scenario, you look at it from a seller's standpoint. If he had not got into the contract, he could have sold oil at 1,050 to someone on that day after 1 month. But because of the contract, he is forced to sell it at 1,000 only, which means seller is losing 50, buyer is gaining 50, right? So in a cash settlement, what happens is seller will pay 50 to the buyer. No oil is exchanged between any party, right? Oil remains with the seller only. Oil remains with the, so basically people are playing in this game. There is no commodity that is getting exchanged. So people are betting on the prices, or people are, so it's only the price movement. So the difference in the price that is settled from one party to other party. Today, more than 90% of the transactions happen through cash settlement only. Right? So which means the seller will think of selling it in his local market only. Let's say if it has gone to 1050, what will happen? He will settle the buyer with 50 rupees, right? Because the buyer is at a profit of 50, the seller is at a loss of 50. So he will compensate the buyer with 50. Seller can really sell it in the local market at 1050. Overall, he is selling it at 1050. Out of that 1050, he has paid 50 to this person. So overall, he is selling it at 1,000 only, to the contract only. But the advantage is the buyer really need not be an oil buyer. Even you and me can enter into the contract. If we really feel that oil price is going to become 1050 after, or if it is going to go to 1050 after 1 month or something, and I want to take an advantage of the difference in the price, right? I'll get into this kind of a contract, which means I'm gaining 50 bucks, but I don't need to take the possession of oil. So that makes a lot of transactions coming into picture. So probably even for making money, we'll get into derivatives market. We really don't need to deal with oil, or we are not an oil using company or something like that. Even just for making some profit, we can get into this kind of a contract. It's just not forward. All derivatives contracts today, majority of the derivatives contracts are cash settlement contracts only. And probably on the futures exchange, probably today I will trade on oil, tomorrow I will trade on potatoes, the other day I will trade on gold. Nothing I will buy. I will be more interested only in making profits on the price differences, because everything is a cash settlement kind of a process, right? So literally there is no delivery of the underlying asset. Any asset we are talking of. See, let's say we are dealing it on stocks, saying I'll buy one share of Infosys from you after 1 month at some 2005 at 3,000 rupees a share, right? Now, if you really have to transfer Infosys into my account, again there is a title transfer and lot of other things coming into picture. Rather than that, I'll pay the difference between the price. So you say you are buying it at 3,000. On that day when our deal has to take place, if the market price of Infosys is 3,100, I'll pay 100 rupees to you. Over. I'll pay 100 rupees to you. Keep the ownership of Infosys. So, I mean, you have got the benefit of buying it at 3,000 only, because now you can go into the market and buy it at 3,100. If you really want Infosys, you can buy it in the market at 3,100. Out of that, 100 is funded by me. So, literally, you are buying it at 3,000 only. So that is what is the cash settlement mechanisms really bringing a benefit. So from one party to the other party, the cash is moved. So people who are really not interested in taking the possession of the underlying, even they can enter into all the derivatives contracts. So because of that, the size of the derivatives markets is growing heavier and heavier because of the cash settlement kind of transaction. And let's say here, okay, A and B have got into a contract, right? A and B have got into a contract for oil, $1,000 after 1 month, right? Let's say after 15 days, A wants to back out. A wants to exit. He is feeling that this contract is nowhere feasible, or it's not working out for him. When will he think that if A is a buyer, if he thinks that the market price is already 950, right? 950, 970. Why should I buy it from B after 1,000? The market price is actually going down. So I could have very well bought it in the market. I can very well buy it in the market at 950 or 970. Why should I buy it from him at 1,000? So at that point, actually A thinks it's better that I terminate the contract, right? Not default. Default is other side. Without informing or doing anything, he will not adhere to the contract. But in the middle, he may think of why should I not terminate the contract? So one basic thing is where probably I may talk to B, saying, can we close down the contract? B will never agree to it, because for B it is a gain, right? Because he can sell the oil at $1,000 where the market price is only $950. So he can get a profit. So he will never agree to. So here what A will do, he will try to find another party called C, right? Where he becomes a seller, C becomes a buyer. He'll try to find some kind of a person, C, where he commits to C, saying, I'll sell oil at $1,000 after 1 month, right? If he can find such C, he is buying oil at 1,000 here, he is selling oil at 1,000 here. No risk. But of course, this is a risk. Finding this guy, see, if today the market price is 950, probably getting someone who is ready to buy it at 1,000 after 15 more days is not that easy, right? Unless the other person really thinks, no, in the next 15 days, oil is going to go to 1,100 rupees. If she thinks that, yeah, in next 15 days, oil prices are going to rise up like anything, because it's all about how each person is visualizing the future movement of that particular price, particular asset. Otherwise, he cannot find any right. He cannot find any person. Then he has to lose that money. So when we are talking of early termination, we are talking of one way to it's as good as early termination. See, if I am able to find C who is ready to buy it at 1,000 after 15 more days, whatever is the market price, I am least bothered now, because I will buy it from 1,000 buy it at 1,000 from B. I'll sell it to C at 1,000, irrespective of whatever is the market price. I may not gain anything, but at least I will not lose anything. no gain, no loss. So I am trying to mitigate my risk there. That kind, which means now I felt after 15 days, no, I cannot make a gain in this. So let me prevent my loss. I know that I am not able to make any gain in this because the market price has fallen when I thought that it will go up. So I'll try to see if I can reduce my loss. Even if I can sell it at 980, if I can buy, if I can find some buyer who is ready to buy even at 980, I don't mind selling it, because at the max I'll lose 20 bucks. But now I am losing 50 bucks if I don't find any other buyer for that. So that is what is a early termination. But the only problem in this case, because now A has entered into two forward agreements, right? One as a buyer, one as a seller. He is exposed to two default risks. Even B can default or even C can default. So his risk is even more getting doubled in case one of the parties is defaulting. See, we are saying I will buy from B at 1000, I will sell to C at 1000. If B is not willing to sell, if B defaults, where can I sell it to C at 1000? Probably I may have to buy it in the market and sell it to C. All these things are very much possible. So the default risk is very, very high, uh, especially if you are getting into this kind of early termination in case of a forward market. So this early termination where you are getting into exactly opposite transaction. See, here your original transaction was as a buyer. To close that position, you are entering with another party as a seller. So equal amount, equal date, but opposite transaction, buyer seller. This type of mechanism is called as offsetting. Offsetting contract is nothing but the same asset, same date, probably the price also same, need not be same, slightly higher, lower, but the opposite position.